Dyson, no more. Dyson has launched, my fellow Spherians. You can now stake Sphere as YL Sphere for 16 weeks to earn yield from the performance fees of Dyson. Let's go. How long has this been in the making? Oh my goodness. And of course, I have my tea with me because it is a momentous day. Today marks the launch of Dyson. All right. So, couple questions right off the bat to address. YL Sphere is not a token that you can see in your wallet. It is staked within Dyson, and so you will receive it. You will receive yield in blue chip tokens, but the YL Sphere is within Dyson. There's a lot of questions about that I've seen come up. The rewards are in these blue chip tokens that currently do not auto compound, but you can claim rewards at any time and use them as you see fit. And I've also seen word of us exploring yield in Sphere in the future as well. But regardless, the yield is distributed at a variable APR, meaning that the yield will change over time depending on quite a lot of things. YL Sphere TVL, which Good Vibes only showed is 7 million at this point. The performance of Dyson's vaults, and the actual value of the blue chip tokens you receive, right? Because those will fluctuate as well. Also, the amount distributed from Dyson's vaults and the Sphere treasury itself can also be adjusted over time to provide sustainable yield for Spherians. All right. This also means that if you are still in T-Sphere, you can withdraw your tokens at 0 penalty so that you can transition to YL Sphere or do whatever you would like with those tokens. Hey, Gato, what's up? Also, fun fact, Dyson became the top #2 used contract on Polygon shortly after launch. And I knew we would congest Polygon with the launch of Dyson, and we sure did, which is awesome. And of course, we hosted an impromptu AMA just after Dyson's launch, the recording of which is available in Stage Archive for those who are interested. It was a short, maybe 15-20 minute AMA only. But we will be hosting a larger AMA within the coming weeks as well. Now, let's see. During that AMA, Sim introduced this concept of LF-matic or Love-matic, which is actually a rebasing form of Matic, where the Matic yield will be paid out in a rebase mechanism similar to USD Plus, with a wrapped version as well. So essentially, it is a Sphere ecosystem version of ST Matic or Matic X. And there's obviously a lot that we can do with that within our ecosystem. Dyson's other vaults include vaults on Uniswap v3 for liquidity providers, Balancer, Dystopia. These are going to expand over time, and those vaults are indeed auto-compounded and maximized for your yield earning pleasure. We have migrated Sphere's liquidity to Balancer with an 80-20 Sphere W-matic pool, and that's because VE Sphere liquidity will also be 80-20 and likely on Balancer as well, so we would much rather just stay consistent, skip the extra step, and prevent the need to move liquidity yet again when VE Sphere comes out. So basically with Balancer, you can also use essentially any other token to swap to and from Sphere. So there's no more issues with swapping to and from USD Plus first, which was a big pain point in the community. We were very well aware. So that is now resolved. That alone deserves a high five, in my opinion. So there we go. High five myself. All right. With along with that, all taxes permanently disabled, guys. Thank you, good vibes. Appreciate that. All taxes permanently disabled. There's no buy, sell, transfer, or withdrawal taxes anymore. There's no restrictions on buying and selling either. So you are free to use your Sphere tokens as you best see fit and swap as much or as little as possible. Hey guys, hey Mouse, George, Taj. I know T1, right? Well, I got to keep this community AMA. You guys have a lot of questions in stage chat to go through for today. That's why I just jumped right into the AMA at the beginning. Let's see. So yeah, regarding the taxes, I'm sure you guys saw the announcements. The Sphere's contract itself has been updated via the proxy contract to completely remove the tax functionality for good. So just solidifying, we are not a degen project, we are a DeFi protocol. When Dyson indeed, when Dyson indeed. As soon as you click the link. The documents for Sphere have been updated to properly reflect this new evolution of Sphere. And Dyson's documents have been released as well. So be sure to check those out, take a read through, and let us know if you have any questions from that as well. New buy bonds actually were available, but were very quickly sold out. And then just recently on the main chat, I saw Sim mention that we are bringing back Sphere buying from other chains. So that is good. Sphere Lens essentially done, going through internal team testing. Prion's basically done, just prepping for the beta launch, and invitations for beta should hopefully be opening by the end of the week. So pretty crazy. Sim had mentioned in the announcement that this is the year of Sphere, and we were not joking. How to get an invitation to the beta? Same as with the Dyson beta, where we are looking for people in the community who are, active, involved in the different chats that we see them providing, good feedback, constructive feedback, helpful to other people, inquisitive, asking questions. These are the sorts of things we want to see because that's what we need in a beta tester. We need someone who's going to be inquisitive, who's going to be curious, who's going to try and, work through the system so much that they can identify any potential bugs or user interface, user experience issues that we can then optimize like we were able to do with Dyson and make it such a seamless experience for everyone. When unknown evolution, the answer is unknown. I couldn't help myself, I'm sorry. All right. As if that wasn't enough, guys. It's so much happened this past week, and even just today, it still kind of blows my mind. There's a lot of catching up to do for a lot of people. People just coming back into the ecosystem. So, welcome to Sphere, everybody. I think Sim mentioned this, and he put it very well. We're finally catching a glimpse of the true vision of Sphere and what it will be. Do I see Sphere being in the top 10? All I can say is that we're going to continue to add value to this ecosystem, and that's up to the DeFi crypto community in terms of where it will go. All right. Yeah, the artwork. I was blown away when I first saw the artwork on Dyson. They did a tremendous job. Tremendous job. All right, I'm going to get started on some of these AMA questions, but I'm going to keep an eye on the chat as well here on stage chat. So first and foremost, tseems.eth. Are there any plans to add Sphere for Gains network trading? Well, with the launch of Dyson and the GNS auto compounding staking vault, Sphere has established a relationship with the Gains network team. In terms of where that takes us in the future, if even beyond Dyson at all, is still up for discussion. Good question, though. Jumping back into stage chat, Quiz asked, will the Matic rebase kind of be like USD Plus Yes. Um, that was described in that brief AMA after, such that, the Matic will be yield farmed, and then the Love Matic will be rebased to match that yield. So yes, very similar to USD Plus. All right, next question on AMA questions. Waya, if Dyson is still a couple of weeks out, could we get a few more examples of maybe some of the other strategies like GNS or anything? Well, fortunately for you, my friend Waya, is that Dyson is live, and you can see for yourself now the different vaults that are currently available for everyone. Heck yeah. In stage chat, Bullish asked how much TVL is the team expecting over the coming weeks. I don't think we can put a number on how much we can expect. It's just a matter of doing our due diligence to move forward with our marketing plan as described in our marketing AMA, and seeing where things take us. Ultimately, Dyson will speak for itself. Kissed, what does the locked sphere mean? Is it stakeable now? Yes. So you can now yield lock your sphere into YL sphere within Dyson, Dyson.money, and that will provide you yield in blue chip tokens like WMatic and Curve, and it is a 16-week lock. So be sure you want to do that before proceeding. Yeah, remember it's Sion. The Polygon, a couple of members of the Polygon team are members of our multi-sig. So I think, you can piece that together. Jumping into the back into the stage questions, user Series X. How will these new futures reflect on Sphere and its price? And will Sphere ever be tax-free and listed on major exchanges? Well, good news again. Sphere is indeed tax-free. But also to address your question in a larger way, with every new product release, the team is growing the Sphere ecosystem. So that means bringing real intrinsic value to Sphere holders as we expand that ecosystem, from buyback burning to real yield to increasing liquidity to meta governance. Each and every product brings more value and expands the umbrella of what it means to be a Spherian. So it may not be reflected directly in the price of Sphere at any given time, and we have no way of predicting that. But being a Sphere staker will always bring you the benefits from every product within the Sphere ecosystem, as is true with YL Sphere and will eventually be true for VE Sphere. Yep. Ferret Pew Pew, you know what? Let me see. If ever in doubt, Ferret, go to this website. Oops. And you can take a look. This is where I go always to see the bot funds available, when the most recent earns were. All right. And then still in user Series X's question, regarding about taxes, well, all taxes have been forever disabled, so I think your question is answered. But regarding a centralized exchange, and this is, I know, is a big question for a lot of people. Currently, we have our site set on DeFi, meaning we do not currently plan to add or move any Sphere liquidity to a centralized exchange. Typically, a project actually has to pay a centralized exchange to be listed on it, and we see those funds being better put to use elsewhere at this time, so we do not currently plan to approach any centralized exchanges. Good vibes on Sage Chat. Looking at the bigger picture, does the team have an approximate ratio of what % of the revenue will go to incentivized yield versus what goes to buyback burning? Not really. I think this is probably one of the most largely debated issues within the team. I wouldn't say debated necessarily, more so thought through. There's a lot of factors to consider within this, and it's kind of variable. Perhaps when things become more solidified in the future, we can put set percentages to these things, but ultimately, for at least the time being, it's going to be more flexible And we need that too, because we need to be able to be responsive to the needs of the community and the spirit of the market, where the market is, um, and be able to adjust things here and there as we go forward. Crypto RY in stage chat, how did the team get paid? Through treasury yield farming. So some people thought it was getting paid from the sell taxes. That was not true. We had ended contract sells. So the yield from the treasury was capable of paying the team to continue to support development and do all these other things as well. When Carl, when Fred, in due time, in due time. Carl and Fred are additional buy and burn bots that can be developed. All I can say is Sim has some interesting ideas for how to evolve these things. What time zone is in due time? Oh, ferret. All right. Jumping back to the stage questions, Waya had asked, do you have any information you can share about why T-Sphere withdrawal hasn't been announced? Oops. Seems this question is no longer relevant because T-Sphere is free to withdraw tax-free in order for you to be able to move your sphere into YL Sphere as you so choose, as well as go into Dyson. T1 had asked, not sure if you remember when Sim talked about the possibility of Sphere having its own chain. Was it just an idea, or is it still on the cards? So we at the Sphere team talk about many different possibilities on any given day or week, especially with some of the core, meeting some pretty amazing people over time within the crypto DeFi space. So some ideas are really awesome and are pushed to the forefront, like Dyson Sphere Lend, Prion, moving liquidity to balancer. Other ideas may still be great, but may not be it may not be time for those to be implemented. So if Sphere were to create its own blockchain, it would need to be done at a time if/when there was a strong use case for it, such that Sphere holders could actually benefit from it. All right. Conan Unknown, how does this benefit Sphere being on a different chain? Sphere has, a position in both Cone and Unknown. So Sphere is able to earn yield through those as well. And that yield can always be, moved cross-chain if need be. Why, thank you, Office Detox. Or Official Detox, sorry. All right. The 500K that was initially set aside for buyback burning is part of this fund planned to be distributed as yield for Sphere. That's a good question. I don't know the exact details on that, but recall also that a lot of the Matic that was farmed has also been put back into the liquidity pool as initially promised. So I'm not exactly sure. I don't know. Maybe Lilo would be good to ask about that. Actually, there's a question coming up on that soon where basically I don't have a good answer for you yet on that. But mainly, mainly the yield for YL Sphere is going to come from Dyson's performance fees. So I would bear that in mind for now. King MKT, question, Pendis liquidity is getting low. Is there plans to add more liquidity or rely on users? So Penrose and Unknown are still a part of the Sphere ecosystem, and we are not abandoning them, as many people had feared. We have mentioned before that updates to Penrose and Unknown are on hold, pending updates from the Tetu team and Dystopia, for Dystopia and Cone, respectively. And I did see Sim mention Dystopia will be receiving a major overhaul in due time, so interesting on that. Still, as you now see with Dyson, we have auto-compounding vaults for Dystopia liquidity maximized through Penrose. So that alone can help boost liquidity, making it more attractive for users. So hopefully that gives you a general idea that these products are still an integral part of the Sphere ecosystem, and we're not going anywhere with they're not going anywhere anytime soon. Um, Good vibes. Tattoo is nearly fully deployed with V2. Is there any updates on the quantum liquidity as a service front? Thanks for all the good answers. Oh, you're welcome. Um, I don't have any particular updates for you right now, outside of the fact that quantum liquidity and quantum liquidity as a service were also something that we're getting overhauled within that update. Glad you find my voice relaxing. All right. This question was by Harambe and kind of speaks a little bit to your question, Plob. After all the expenses, fees, etc. are paid per month, how much is the Sphere Treasury earning per month? Can we get the numbers for October, November, December? So I don't have that information for you right now. The team has been pretty focused on the launch of Dyson, as you can imagine today, as well as Sphereland, Prion, the migration of liquidity. There's a lot of things we're focusing on right now, so I don't have a good answer for you, but I will see if I can get a good answer for you. Luke Porter had asked, what happens to the Sphere Lottery? So Oxy had replied to this, so thank you, but the Sphere Lottery, Sphere Games, has been replaced by the Sphere Earnings Pool, which is YL Sphere in Dyson. So instead of staking your sphere as T-Sphere for a chance to earn more sphere, and then also the drip rewards, you can now stake your sphere for 16 weeks to earn real yield in blue chip tokens. That comes from Dyson's performance fees. And that is currently live and available for everyone through Dyson. Scion, is there any chart that will show historical APR percentage over months? I know this has been discussed and kind of mentioned within the team. I don't know if there's any formal plan to move that into action, but I also agree that would be pretty cool information. So we will see. I do know for sure, and this comes up later, that people want to see the TVL of Dyson, and that's already being worked on. Just some of these things, we wanted to be able to launch a functional product, that is Dyson, and then some of these other things are less required, quote unquote, on actual launch day and can be added at a later time. So if there's enough community interest and support in that, we may be able to push that something like that to go through. Tasseems.eth again. What if you have locked YL Sphere when V3 releases? And thank you, DeFi Panda, for responding to this one. But so YL Sphere will be replaced by VE Sphere, similar to how T Sphere was replaced by YL Sphere. VE Sphere yield will expand to include yield from the entire Sphere ecosystem. We're going to have multiple other projects launched at that time. And you'll also have the added benefit of voting power over the entire Sphere ecosystem and bribe rewards. So it'll be quite interesting. SP Sphere will be the liquid staked version of that in case users want to earn yield from the ecosystem but do not want to be or do not want to lock their tokens and vote escrow. But similar to how Sphere Games was pretty seamlessly, if you ask me, replaced by YL Sphere, so too will the process be for when VE Sphere replaces YL Sphere. But never fear, because we still have much to do between then and now, and we'll be clearly making announcements. So for now, not to worry. Simply enjoy YL Sphere, the single-sided staking real yield. Oh, thank you, Kato. So you can use DeFi Llama to view the TVL of Dyson. We are working on a debank proposal as we speak. Real question, when can we get a sphere wallpaper? I'm trying to see Dyson every single day while at work. I know Grom has released some different artwork in the chat here and there. So there are definitely some different wallpapers out there. Will VE Sphere be Q3, Q4, 2024? There is no estimated release time for VE Sphere currently. There's still a lot of there are certainly other things that we need to do first. Prion and Spherelend, certainly, to name a couple. OX Guidez, what are you going what what oh man. Uh Basically how are we going to use the 70 mil sphere collected from taxes? So these can be used for numerous purposes, all of which are still in discussion within the team. So, for example, it could be distributed to sphere stakers, it could be burned, it could be used for community events such as poker tournaments, it could be used for airdrops, it could be used to help seed liquidity in other dexes, and or it could be donated. And I'm sure there's some other things we could think of with what we could do with that. But ultimately, we do have to be a little more careful with what we do with that because the sphere treasury is no longer collecting sphere from taxes, so it becomes uh, more of a scarce resource, so to speak, to use that sphere very diligently and conscientiously. Hi, Zeus. Plob, do we currently have any other projects lined up to deposit significant capital into Dyson? If yes, when could this realistically happen? Um, the only thing I can say really about that is to refer to the marketing AMA, such that there are other vaults that we can certainly integrate, other protocols that could benefit from Dyson, um, marketing campaigns towards whales once Dyson has enough time under its belt to prove itself. So I like to say in due time, but I believe the appropriate response is soon. Shush. What's planned on marketing? Don't see the hype. Yeah. Actually, I'd also done a video on this. Maybe someone could link that, but there's a recap of that AMA. But we did a marketing AMA of basically the sorts of things that Sphere is doing to approach marketing during this bear market. And maybe I can ask and see if we can get another AMA like that in the future, or perhaps that'll be something that we can include in the that AMA coming up within the next couple of weeks with Sim. There's CryptoFat. Thank you. So basically, in regards to marketing, we have some things lined up: individual targeting, working with some specific groups of people that have specific significant overlap with the use case of Dyson. So that's all good news. But ultimately, or one thing to point out is that we are not the biggest fans of just trying to reach for exposure. If we can't verify the audience of our marketing, the return on that investment is not there for us. So, for example, like Twitter views don't really mean anything. So, thank you, CryptoFat, for posting that. Zeus, do I have to take any action to convert my T-sphere, or will it convert to YL sphere automatically? You do have to take action. So, by seamless, I mean that it's very easy now to unstake your T-sphere from Sphere Games. You'll then have your sphere, and then you can take that sphere, go to Dyson, and stake it into the YL Sphere vault, bearing in mind the 16-week lock period. So good question, good clarification. Okay. Crypto Brew. You're welcome. Crypto Brew. What are the security measures for the vaults in Dyson? Vaults are usually not as secure as other staking options. So the primary security measure is the same for all solid DeFi projects, and that would be audits. Audits, of course, reveal potential weak points in the code that have the potential to be abused by hackers, and audits allow us to go in and modify those to the auditor's satisfaction. So we are pretty close to getting our audits back, I believe, at this point. In addition, Dyson went through extensive beta testing. So to identify, that also helped identify any bugs or issues that were then squashed and updated to provide the user experience available to you all now. Japrone, is there any reason to leave money in Penrose if we have Dyson? So that depends on which LP you are using on Dystopia Penrose, because not all Dystopia Penrose vaults are currently available on Dyson. So if you you can certainly use both. If you have, if the vault you are interested in is available on Dyson, it does offer a more convenient means of earning yield from those platforms because of the auto compounding. All right. It seems that ETH asked future partnerships question mark, to which I say yes, indeed. Um, Mike asked, hello, been away. Is Sphere Games over? I don't see any rewards. So thank you, Jay, for responding to this one. But indeed, Sphere Games, again, has been replaced by YL Sphere and Dyson so that we can earn some real yield from Dyson's performance fees. Yeah, pretty nice. TSIP. Kaloom. How will we drive users to this? Dystopia Penrose feels pretty dead. So once again, the Tetu team is in the process of revamping Dystopia, and our updates for Penrose are on hold until then. As CryptoFat mentioned in the Sphere chat, Sphere's marketing team has multiple plans to continue to get things rolling, but products like Dyson will certainly start to speak for themselves on top of what we have planned. So, the flywheel, the clock's ticking basically. that's still my favorite analogy. OX Mr. E. With Sphere eliminating taxes, are centralized exchanges possible in the future? So yeah, answered this earlier, but this is a possibility, but projects usually have to pay centralized exchanges for listings, and that's just not something we're interested in doing right now, especially since our primary focus is in DeFi. Yeah, also, like, look at all the things that happen on centralized exchanges. Like, do we really want to be listed on a centralized? Like, just saying, not saying, just saying. And Crypto DJ, is 16-week locking period for all pools or just Sphere? Also, where to withdraw, Matic UC. Thank you, Oxy, for responding to this one as well. But the 16-week lock period is only for YL Sphere. All other vaults do not have a locking period. If there were any, it would be specifically stated, but no, currently all other vaults do not have a locking period, just YL Sphere. Also, in Dyson, if you click on the pool and you go to actions, you'll then have the option to withdraw. So that is certainly there, and I do plan to make some in-depth videos about how to use Dyson in the future. It'll just take some time to get everything out. But I feel like the user experience on Dyson hopefully is pretty seamless. Not sure what other people's experiences have been. We certainly had a lot of good feedback from the beta testers, and we're able to integrate a lot of that. So, all right. OX Agita. How much revenue will Dyson generate, and how much burn could we expect from Sphere Token from those earnings? Good question, but Dyson's revenue is going to be highly variable, and it depends on multiple factors. For example, the volume on Uniswap, also the more TVL on Dyson, and the better the performance fees of the better the performance of the underlying vaults, the greater the revenue from performance fees, and therefore the more yield available for YL Sphere. So for that reason, it's kind of impossible to give you an expected amount of revenue. It's just going to be variable. And that's why the YL Sphere APR is listed as a V, or variable APR, just to kind of hammer that home. It's going to fluctuate up and down. T. I feel like having too much projects apart from Sphere loses impact on Sphere itself. I would really appreciate if you can deploy more strategies. Pump Sphere price. Yes, pump Sphere price, indeed. Well, the point of Sphere is to build out an ecosystem to provide more and more value to DeFi and ultimately to Sphere holders. And Dyson is an excellent and clear example, I think, of that value and how that value comes back to then benefiting Sphereans. So, yeah. Hi, Brighter. Question. What are we able to do, or will we able to do with YL Sphere tokens? So again, be careful with this. And thank you again, Oxy, for responding. There is no YL Sphere token. YL Sphere is simply a vault within Dyson and allows you to earn yield from the performance fees of Dyson. BQ asked, can we add liquidity in other pools? Like I just put some in WMATIC USDT. Yeah, absolutely. Are you talking about the Dyson pools? That's what Dyson's for. All vaults on Dyson that you can see are publicly available for deposits so that you can yield farm through these different protocols, Balancer, Dystopia, Uniswap v3, and the APYs that you see on those vaults are real APYs. You know, consider the Uniswap v3 vaults. That is real yield in the same two tokens that you're depositing from the swap fees on Uniswap v3, and that's the power of concentrated liquidity. You can really amplify returns by having a small LP range. Banjo Bob, for Wild Sphere 16-week lock, any option for early withdrawal with penalties? No. So that was something that was considered, but we wanted to eliminate taxes. And an early withdrawal penalty would come as a tax, essentially. So we wanted to basically cut out all taxes and say, no, it's a 16-week lock period. That's it. So there is no early withdrawal, and therefore there's no penalty for early withdrawal because you can't withdraw early. Good question, though. Fun Law. Sorry, please, and just joining. No worries. Welcome. Any reason why you moved liquidity to Balancer instead of QuickSwap? And did you remove the tax? I'm just joining. Yes, we did remove the tax. But I think this is a good question. QuickSwap was going to be a stepping stone that we were going to use for the liquidity, but ultimately the end goal was to get to Balancer from the beginning because VE Sphere will be an 80-20 LP. So we ultimately decided, now that we're in this next evolution of Sphere, let's just go straight to Balancer. It'll make things easier in the future, be more seamless for swapping Sphere. We can start to integrate cross-chain swapping again. So yeah, Balancer I think is going to be just an easier solution overall. So that's why we went with it ultimately. This individual's name is simply 2 dashes. So welcome. Will Sphere Treasury use Dyson? There are many plans for how Dyson will be used by Sphere to further value for Sphere holders. Cheers. Banjo Bob, did we leave the 100% tax on the hacked wallet? Yes, indeed we did. That wallet cannot sell Sphere. It cannot transfer Sphere. That wallet is perpetually blacklisted, indeed. And for those who don't know, there was a hacked wallet where someone stole a lot of Sphere. I don't remember how much it was. It was over 20 million, I think, Sphere, maybe even more than that. And that wallet, yes, it's still blacklisted. Zeus, is it possible to lose money when locked into Dyson if it doesn't do well? Certainly. There's always a risk of the token value going up and down. There's the risk that the Sphere token value goes down. There's the risk of lower performance on the Dyson vaults, interfering with yield, all of these things. But yeah, thank you, Cato. Exactly. But also to note, yeah, basically all those tokens are burned essentially because no one can access them. Or do you mean that they were literally sent to a burn wallet, T1? But Zeus, to expand on that, let's assume the yield stays the same. If the price of Sphere drops, then the APR will actually increase, because relative to the price of Sphere, you're getting the same amount of yield. So it's going to be a new dynamic in the price of Sphere and the the yield on Dyson. It puts new dynamics into the tokenomics. That was Zeus who asked that, right? Yeah. All right. Oh, Panu said the hacked wallet had over 40 million sphere. Yeah, it's a lot, but it is blacklisted. All right, Mustard Man. Hey guys, honestly haven't checked in the sphere in like 6 months. I know heaps of stuff has happened indeed, but can I just keep holding sphere for the time being and just betting on the value of prices of sphere to rise? Well, Mr. Mustard Man, you are free to do with your sphere as you choose. Prices change. Price changes are speculation, and we don't make any price predictions. So that decision ultimately falls on you, good sir. Um, Master Master H. When Dyson loaded, it showed 15%. Was this based on TVL? Will the APR change? What affects this? So yeah, YL sphere yield will change over time. It's a variable APR. It depends on YL sphere's TVL, as well as the performance of Dyson and its vaults, and also the price fluctuations of the yield itself can affect how much you're earning as well. Hey, McFly. I did mention it, but basically, Sim briefly mentioned in the impromptu AMA that Lovematic will be a rebasing solution for basically a yield farmed Matic. Kind of similar to like ST Matic or Matic X, but more in line with USD Plus, how that rebase is. And there'll be a wrap version as well. But more on that in time. All right. Ando Calriz, if the price of Sphere goes up, do your rewards increase or are they based on the number of tokens? So actually the opposite. And Juice, we were just talking about this. Given the same amount of rewards, if the price of Sphere increases, your percent yield will actually decrease. So that's going to introduce a new dynamic to swapping Sphere, such that when the yield is high, prices are low. More people will be incentivized to lock, which is going to lower the yield and raise the price, and then that will lower the demand for Sphere, which will lead to higher yield and so forth. So there's going to be a new dynamic to that. Here's a TISA for you. Delicious. Hypothetical question: what will happen if some holders do not ever withdraw their Sphere from games? Interesting question. I suppose it'll just stay there, available for people to withdraw. I'm not sure. That's a good question. But I imagine it'll still be there to withdraw. It is Rooibos tea actually. Um, in terms of the yield of Lovematic, we'll just have to see how that is in time. I can't really speak on, what that might be and how it would compare to STmatic, for example. Sorry. All right. Let's see. Zoes. Is there a way to check the overall Dyson stats, total TVL, etc? Yeah, so this came up earlier a little bit, but things like TVL, total TVL of Dyson, are being worked on, but they were not finished in time for the public launch. But Cato pointed out that you can see the TVL on DeFi Llama if you look it up there. Also, rest assured that Dyson will continue to receive updates and useful info as time moves forward. Yeah, there's going to be some interesting synergies between our different projects, as you will see over time. Are these yields in my wallet auto compounding? Yeah. So those are all the Uniswap V3 vaults. They're all auto compounding. If you're curious as well, when you click on the vault itself and you click on strategy, it'll tell you more about the strategy as well. Queese had asked, now that this is done, can you get some sleep this week? I believe this was intended for Sim, and I certainly hope so. He deserves some rest after all of that. My goodness. Johnny 5, will Dyson be added to Sphere's phone app? It's a good question. I'm not sure. Again, our focus was on getting Dyson launched and Sphere Lend and Preon. Um, so likely that's still in discussion in terms of how that could be integrated. So sorry I don't have a good enough answer for you at this time. Cryptlex, will there be a new strategy for Bernie buyback burning? I know Sim has some ideas, but basically all the yield within the ecosystem, this is just in general, all the yield within the ecosystem for Spherians needs to be balanced between giving yield for yield locked Spherians and buying and burning Sphere as well. So there has to be some sort of balance, and that's a fluid balance. There's nothing set right now. There's no set percentages which goes where. It kind of depends on the needs of the ecosystem and the market conditions. A lot of things can go into that and factor into that. Perhaps over time, once the ecosystem becomes more fleshed out, those things can be more solidified. But even then, I can see benefit to keeping how much goes into real yield and how much goes into burning flexible. I think it's always probably in most cases more beneficial to keep it flexible. But I could be wrong. Official detox. Does the GNS pool take a portion of your deposit upon staking? No, there's only a performance fee for all the Dyson vaults. There's no deposit or withdrawal fee, which is good news. And I may be wrong. I may be wrong. Sorry, I may be wrong. So quote me if I am, or correct me if I am wrong. But I believe the Uniswap V3 pools have a 20% performance fee, and the other vaults like GNS and Dystopia have a 4% performance fee. But yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. That's in the strategy breakdown as well, if you are curious. So yeah, now I'm back in stage questions. Phoenix God, are Dyson strategies audited? Yes, they are. We're just waiting on the audit to get published. So we did release Dyson prior to the audit getting published, but hopefully soon. Hopefully soon. Gibbo, I have T-Sphere I have T-Sphere staked still. I am assuming that is pointless and I should claim and swap. Yeah, basically, T-Sphere is more or less pointless at this point. So make sure you claim your drip rewards first, and then you can unstake from Sphere Games tax-free and transition to YL Sphere if you're interested in the real yield. Do we have a contract address for YL Sphere by Makbani? Do we have a contract address for YL Sphere that we can add to MetaMask? No, so you don't get tokens when you yield lock Sphere. But you can check the address displayed in Dyson through the YL Sphere pool. You can also view your earnings on there. Sush, what's the plan for marketing? I've discussed this previously, but we got plans. Yes, Crypto Cookie, was there a recording of Sim's impromptu AMA this morning? There is indeed in Stage Archive. That's available. It's like 15-20 minutes. Already addressed that one. Bad Reg, can you explain how the APR would increase? Is it theoretically a flywheel to start, APR go down? Yeah, so the APR, again, it's variable, Bad Reg. It's going to depend on the performance of Dyson's vaults, because the performance fees will go into YL Sphere yield. And it also depends on the TVL of YL Sphere, because the more YL Sphere is in there, the less yield to go around, basically. Yeah, and Crom, thanks for pointing that out. Actually, on the Sphere dashboard, you can now see your earnings as well. So you can view it there. Petson, just to if we've mentioned burning plans yet. Sim has different ideas for how to optimize burns, but in more generally, within the ecosystem now, we have to balance providing real yield to Spherians and buying and burning. Crypto RY again. At what point do you stop burning? What's the dream? there isn't necessarily a point where we would stop burning necessarily. It's just this is part of what we are building for Sphere to be able to provide a constant deflation and a constant real yield sustainable for Spherians. Zeus, I wish I was smart enough to take advantage of all these products. Well, technically, just by being a YL Spherian, you are taking advantage of all these products, right? That's the point of the ecosystem, is that all of the performance fees of the vaults are funneling into YL Sphere yield. So that is where the S&P 500 of Sphere comes in, right? Just by holding Sphere and staking Sphere as YL Sphere, you are benefiting from every single vault in Dyson without having to put money into each vault. Exactly. See, that's why it's so interesting. It's such a fascinating concept that has been developed here, and it's just so fun. Um, Zartang, you may want to talk to Doctor about that. Banjo Bob, where does this real yield come from exactly? Great question. It comes from the performance fees of Dyson. So each Dyson vault has its own performance fee. So the Uniswap V3 vaults, for example, have a 20% performance fee. So for users who deposit there, they are getting 80% of that yield. And as like a thank you, basically, or in exchange for doing all the work for you of rebalancing the LP, reinvesting the fees, Dyson's going to take a 20% fee. So that is what is used to then provide yield to Spherians, because that is also in blue chip tokens, right? When you have a USDC WETH LP that's earning pretty crazy APY from the concentrated liquidity, the fees you're getting, the revenue you're getting, is in USDC and WETH. So that's real yield right there that then gets funneled into YL Sphere. Hi, Crypto Chef. The Sphere games T Sphere are still there, but they're essentially pointless because there are no more rewards going to Sphere games. So it's best now if you withdraw from Sphere games, which will convert your T Sphere into Sphere. But as Pandu pointed out, be sure to claim your drip rewards first, and then you can withdraw. And then you can take that Sphere if you're interested and go to Dyson.money, where you will see a vault called YL Sphere, which stands for Yield Locked Sphere. And that is where you can earn real yield in the form of blue chip tokens at a variable APR from Dyson's performance fees. Welcome to Sphere. Srini, is the APY on UniV3 vaults net of performance fees? I believe so. I may be wrong. I think I'd have to ask Sim on the exact calculation of that because I am not sure, but that is a good question. You are very welcome, Crypto RY. Peace out. Mm-hmm. Right, yeah. If you were claiming regularly, um, the we basically had our last draw earlier, such that there were no more Sphere rewards going into Sphere games. So if you were claiming your drip rewards regularly, you wouldn't see any over the past couple of days. Yeah, Pandu, thank you. Mm-hmm. Zartang, I know the team's always a few steps ahead. What's the plan for LP split to avoid cannibalizing Sphere by holders to put into the next stage of yield earning? I'm gonna be straight with you. I have no idea what you're asking. I'm sorry. Can you rephrase? And then let me see if I can get response. Great questions so far, guys. I'm caught up on the stage questions, which is great. We got about 5 minutes left or so. Any other questions coming through? Let me see here. All right, so I'm gonna try to find out for you on that one. Oh, he's asking what is being planned to prevent users selling Sphere to get the 20% required for VE Sphere. So for one thing, you have the real yield now from YL Sphere. So of course you're free to do with that whatever you would like. But one thing you could do with it is to start building up a bag to use for that 80/20 LP. Also, you're free to sell Sphere as well. You know, taxes are gone. Um, it's really up to you. Um, hold the phone now. Oh boy. Okay, so good. So thank you for that. Responding to, where is it? Srini, if you're still here. Um, yes, so the APY you are shown on Dyson is after performance fees. I had that confirmed. So what you see is what you get, which is pretty nice. Indeed. But yeah, that's definitely crossed our minds though, Plob and Zartang, which again is why the YL sphere yield is now here, such that of course you can do with it what you would like, but it also provides you the opportunity to start building up some yield to then use to create your VE Sphere LP if you so choose. Good night, good vibes. Thanks for being here as well. McFly, when adding more pools in Dyson? We just released it. Will you never be satisfied? No, but in all seriousness, in due time, soon. I know, I know, I know. Hey man, Sim is a beast. He works nonstop. I do hope he gets some rests, but I highly doubt it. um, he's definitely working hard on some other things. Um, Sphereland and Prion, to say the least. I don't think we'll ever be free of the Wens, you know? I think the Wens will just always be there with us. Insatiable, yeah. Good night to you as well, Osprey. Thanks for being here. Any other questions, guys? We can wrap up. This was one of the busiest AMAs I've done. I think a lot of questions responded to, hopefully answered. A lot of updates, obviously, within this past week. It's crazy week, awesome week. Why does everyone always want me to rap? I don't actually listen to rap. Like, it's not a genre I actually enjoy, just personally. I have nothing against it. My brother loves rap, uh, and I'm fine with it. But it's just not my thing. I'm personally a very big dubstep fan. I also like Trivium, Atreyu, Avenged Sevenfold was really big back in the day. I like classical music too. Why is my voice so calming? Oh, you find it calming. Polka? What is polka? Hey, I know. Cyril made those lyrics, and then I actually had someone rap it, and I put it on my main channel, so it's there. But there will not be a day when I rap it because I cannot. Excision? I'm not familiar with Excision. What type of band is Excision? Sorry. Mm, then I will definitely be looking up Excision. I like Virtual Riot. Um, is one of my favorites, but I'll definitely look up Excision. I feel like I have heard of them now. There it is. Thank you, Pandu. I would love to go to some festivals like that. Let me just see here. No, I don't think I've seen Excision. I'll look into it. All right, we are diving off the deep end. Play dubstep as the elevator music before starting the AMA. Yeah, would be nice. Would be nice. Well, I think I'm gonna call it here. We got 69 people in the audience. Very nice. Um, thank you all so much for being here, for showing up, for asking your questions. If you think of anything else, you're more than welcome to post again in stage questions, and we'll get to them next week. Explore Dyson. Uh, take a look and see what there is available for you. Lock your sphere if you're interested. Spread the news if you're interested as well, and buckle your seatbelts because basically Sim just pressed the play button on the flywheel. So off we go. I'm doing good. I'm very excited. Exactly. Things have finally begun, and I know it's a huge weight off of Sim's chest to get this started. So I'm happy for that as well. The man needs a break. If that'll even come, I don't know. He's very determined. He's very passionate about Sphere, which is good. As am I. All right. Enough rambling. Yes, thank you guys. Always happy to be here. Always happy to talk with you all. Always remember that you matter for who you are. I always truly do mean that when I say it. And I will see you all next time. Thank you, Sinner. All righty. Peace out, everyone.